I'd love to get your take on the dollar, and then you've also got oil, so we've got two spots to go there.
Yeah. So dollar. So I think with everything they're doing currently right now, look to put politics aside. Everything that's been done right now in this country isn't dollar favor. In fact, it's actually cutting the dollar more, it's making the dollar weaker and weaker and weaker. Especially if we're hearing rumors, not rumors, but actually action being taken by the Chinese to go ahead and start producing oil, or at least pricing oil in actually yuan. And a lot of the other big oil countries are actually on board on that as well. And if that starts taking place, that puts a lot of pressure on the dollar as the reserve currency of the world. And if that takes place, if we lose that right as the world currency of the reserve currency of the world, then dollar's going to fall a lot faster, and it's going to go fast down, which creates a lot of problem for the dollar. And I think there's concern around that. And not a lot of people are talking about that, but that is actually a big concern that's currently taking place at the moment right now. So I don't have great hopes for the dollar big rallies, at least in the long term. Short term, we might see some rallies in the dollar, but I think it's going to be short-lived, as we still see the pressure on the dollar if it does lose the reserve currency of the world title. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. So I'm definitely not big bullish on the dollar, at least not in long term.
And I think sorry to cut you off. I just want to say that concept about de-dollarization is absolutely worth noting as well, because that concern around the BRICS nations and potentially that, you don't want to sound like a doomsday or a prepper or anything like that. It's just the reality of this world. If you know your history, throughout history, right? Reserve currencies are not unique to just today, right? They've happened over and over. It was the British pound at one point. It was the German mark at one point, right? If you know your history, central banks bargain for power throughout history. And the question is now a serious one about whether or not the dollar will remain sort of this standalone privileged vehicle that it is, where it has, the command to bully other countries or not. And again, it's just being aware. If you're going to be a trader, if you're going to be an investor, you have to know about the concerns and what they might do to markets. And of course, I'm pro-American as always, so I'm not saying anything bad about America. So don't shut me off, YouTube. You guys are an American company. I don't want to be shut off, but but it is a worthy concern to mention, and I think that's a good point. What were you going to say next?
I was going to say, there's two things that this country needs to start doing, and that is produce oil here in the US so we can become producers of oil rather than actually an importer of oil. But become a producer of oil. One, that's definitely because that's definitely going to help our situation with regards to the reserve currency of the world. Also, another thing is we've got to stop spending. If we keep spending at the rate we're spending right now, we're actually going to cripple the dollar itself. It's like anything. Think about us as homeowners and people that earn a living to pay our debt. If we don't have money to pay our debt, what happens? We go bankrupt. That's the same thing that's going to happen to this country. This country is spending so much money that the GDP is not enough to be able to pay for the debt. And if we get into that situation, as we've just now getting into that situation where they now looking to increase the debt levels.
Do you have any questions about any of our products or services? Right now, members of the A1 Trading team are standing by, waiting to assist you. You can head over to our website, a1trading.com, and click the icon in the bottom right-hand corner to chat with one of our team members live. You can also go to a1trading.com/contact and fill out the Contact Us form, and someone will get back to you shortly. We have our helpful and friendly members of our support staff ready to chat with you anytime Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So what are you waiting for? If you have any questions, feel free to chat with us live right now on the A1 Trading website.
If we can't pay our debt, if they decide that's the cutoff and we're not making enough money to pay our debt, it's a problem. It's a huge problem for the dollar. So
absolutely.
A lot of things to consider there. But like you said, let's not become doomers of the world right now.
How do we trade it? That's the real question. How do we trade it?
Well, that's great. So the thing here is, and I don't want to be an ostrich with my head in the sand and not focus on the bigger picture, but also realize that there are smaller structures that we can trade. And so we have to, once again, be very, very, very aware of what's going on in the bigger picture, but at the same time, we know that there's opportunity on the smaller time frame. So if I go to the dollar, back to the dollar right here, we're seeing the dollar actually showing a little bit of upside move. It's not quite the way other currencies are moving, because some currencies are actually like the euro, US dollar. We've seen the euro, US dollar selling off, but then you've got other currencies that aren't quite seeing the same sort of thing right now. So we've seen a little rally in today's trading, but again, it's still at this resistance level right here. And so it all comes down to how it completes this. Now, I would probably say be on the sideline with the any dollar cross at the moment right now until we get a good confirmation of what's happening here at this resistance. If this resistance does break, and I think I heard you say you're not a buyer or seller on the euro US dollar, and I think it's for the same reason, because you want to see what it does at that support level. Are we going to go back up again? Because we've had many times that the market goes in, breaks through, and then closes out back below right here, or even closes up above, and then the next day, trading day, comes all the way back into that range again. So we've seen a lot of false breakouts appearing in different forms. So I would say dollar looks interesting for a breakout, but I'm not convinced about that. I'm going to hang on to a little more data before I make a decision how I'm going to play the dollar.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think, the dollar itself, if I was to trade it, it would have to at least be something against something that I'm outright bearish on, right? If I'm going to trade a currency pair, it's got to be something for me, perhaps like the Swiss franc, perhaps like, I have my specific pairs that I would trade the dollar against if I had to, but I'm not super biased one way or the other. Like I mentioned, I think that fundamentally the upside for the dollar is limited due to that debt ceiling situation. I think that is sort of a come and go news event. And that's just my take on it. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out. I want to also ask you, Gary, while we're talking about the dollar, gold clearly getting hit pretty hard off of this dollar strength recently. Several gold and silver, the metals market getting really hit off of this. What is your take on gold? We've come into potentially a support around 1975, and we're seeing some reaction there. What's your take on the gold market right now?
As you know, I follow Elliott Wave structure. I've actually created courses on Elliott Wave, and I've been taking Elliott Wave and simplifying it to make it a lot easier. I don't follow the rules that Elliott Wave has set out, but I follow a lot of the stuff that Elliott Wave sets out with a bit of easy sort of approach to it. And so I'm looking at gold right now in a 5-wave structure, and we see that we've hit this last structure right here that's completed my 5th wave. Normally, I like to see it trading right about the 127 as the 5th wave completes there, but it's gone a little higher, and that's fine. And so I'm saying, based on the structure, gold is expected to drop back down to this level, which normally takes out the 4th wave, and that is priced down here. Let's get a price on that. Looking at 1,807 is going to be the downside target. So 1,807 is going to be the downside target. So I'm saying selling on sell gold down to 1,800, and then at 1,800 we may start seeing the market go back inside its rally. So it's definitely in a dip right now.
Yeah, that could be an interesting. It would definitely be an interesting sell-off. I think that recently, it's hard to deny that it has not lost some of its steam. What I'm looking at right now on my chart is just the daily view, and what you'll see on the daily view is that, just from a clear, concise viewpoint of the gold price here, you can see we shot straight up for a while. We had just a straight run. We've now entered into this sideways market. I wouldn't say I'm outright bearish on it at this time, but I do see how if price was able to break this sort of sideways motion and potentially even enter into sort of a downward directional market, the downside to 1,800 seems like it actually could make a lot of sense, right? Just reversing what it did on this run to the upside. Now, of course, what this probably would imply would be more hawkish monetary policy, and I'm not really there. I can't see that. Perhaps I could be proven wrong about that. I just don't see quite how that could happen at this time. I think that, regardless, I'm not necessarily buying gold. I tried context, Gary. I bought gold last week twice. One time I made money. I trailed stops on this one, and when it eroded back, I stopped out for some profit in there. And then a second time I took a loss yesterday, and stopped out when it broke this level of support, which I now have highlighted in red here around 2010. So I stopped out of that trade. And I've had a lot of questions coming in. Are you going to buy gold again? And for me, the answer is no, not right now, until I see some kind of show of strength again. Gary, in terms of my active trading, you're familiar. I'm looking to trade momentum, trying to pull back buy, that sort of thing. I'm just not quite there until we see off of the lower time frames a signal of strength. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'll just probably sit and wait until that strength comes back in. So I'm not necessarily bearish, but I would say neutral, because I'm not actually looking to actively buy it until it shows the setup that I'm looking for. So that's where I am at on gold.
Don't forget to check out the links in the description if you want our broker recommendation, access to our free Discord, free Edge Finder, or want to chat with us on Telegram. Remember, you can watch us live in the markets every morning starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and we have lots more free trading tools and content available on our website, a1trading.com. Thanks for watching.